we going?
Where are we going? We are going to take the YouTube buddies out here for a walk. We're going to go look at some trees, and we're going to see if we can identify them. How does that sound? Sounds like fun?
Yeah.
Okay, you can walk first. Go ahead.
I am from the umbrella. I'll thank you.
No problem. Okay, so on my back right now I do have my backpack, which is my Alice pack, and I will be doing a review on that once we get to our destination. But something that I've been really interested in lately is identifying trees and finding out what they're good for. So what we'll do is we'll just walk through the yard and see a few trees and identify them. Now the tree right here to my right is a bald cypress. Now this one right here is about 40 feet tall. Interesting thing about the bald cypress, easy ways to identify it, is the brown color of bark and the symmetrical way that it grows. It's almost like a very tall pyramid. It gets very skinny to the top and just gets wider and wider as it goes towards the bottom. The wood is very hard. These are freshly established leaves. And they also have little, they call them knees, cypress knees, and they sprout up all around the tree. Now ours get cut off by the lawnmower. Hey Sierra, look at the little frog right there. See the frog? Where's the frog?
Yeah.
There he is. Isn't he cute?
Daddy, I want to touch it.
You want to touch it? Go ahead. Touch it. Go ahead. It's all right.
Wow.
Look at him, huh? Pretty, huh? Don't hurt him, all right? And cypress trees are very popular for their wood because the wood is very hard and it is almost impervious to bugs and rot. So the wood will last thousands of years. It's almost like naturally treated wood. That's why we have hardly any cypress trees left. All right, let's keep walking. Hey, Cece, why don't you come with me? Come on, we got more frogs over here. Come on, kiddo. We got all kinds of stuff back here. So if we keep on walking, and why it's important is if in a survival situation or just for giggles, it's really important to know what type of trees you have and what they're good for. Knowing that a tree is gonna not be susceptible to rot and bugs is kind of important in a survival situation, or just if you want to do some kind of hobby. Now these are holly. This is a holly tree, and this one right here, that's part of the Magnolia family. I'm not too familiar with this one. I'm still doing research on that one. And then these really big ones right here. These are gum trees, and they're really easy to identify because they've got those little seed pods. And you can see one of the seed pods right there. See the round seed pod right there? They've got the round seed pods, and their skin almost looks like an alligator. Okay, and their nickname is alligator tree. They grow to about 150 feet. The pioneers used to cut the bark and make chewing gum out of the sap that used to leak out. It's a really nice hard wood, and it's a strong, hardy tree. They really grow in some really interesting ways. The branches do break off. A lot of people think that they're absolutely beautiful, but a lot of people can't stand them because of the balls. The little balls right there, if you are on a driveway and you're walking with high heels on, or if you're a city folk, those balls can really be of a nuisance. You can twist your ankle on them or whatever. Myself, over in a swampy area such as this, I like them because they really make for some good ground cover.
Daddy, I want to turn around.
You want to turn around? Let's keep on going back here. All right? I'll let you play with my knife, all right? All right, so we're going to cross the bridge right here. I got to hold my daughter's hand. I don't have to, but just to play it safe today. Oh, the stream looks pretty, huh? You want to go fishing?
Fishing.
You want to do some fishing?
Yeah.
And in this stream, we got all kinds of frogs and crayfish and all kinds of neat stuff.
Daddy, hold my hand.
Okay, I got you. All right, so we already looked at the gum tree. Now, what other kind of trees do we have here? Now, remember, this forest was most likely clear-cut probably about 30 years ago. All right, so most of your trees on the East Coast are going to be magnolia trees. And magnolia trees are a tree that pops up after a clear cut. They're almost like the undergrowth. Now, they do grow to 150 feet, 100 to 150 feet. And they have, I'll zoom in on one of their leaves. Now, that's a baby leaf. The leaves are just starting. The leaves can get absolutely huge. But it's a really nice tree. They're really good for lumber because they're real straight growers. As you can see, here's a large one. They're just real straight growers. Sometimes they'll be used in place of pine, where really wide boards are necessary. But the wood quality is not as good as pine because it is softer, but it is very malleable, so you can really work it very easily. It is the wood of choice for organ manufacturers because you can really work it in between those pipes and get a tight seal. And they really grow straight up. They're absolutely beautiful. In a forest like this, they grow really straight. In a prairie, they'll grow really bushy. The Indians used to call it, well, they didn't used to call it, but it was called canoe wood. And that's because the Indians would open these trees up, cut them down, open them up, and make their long canoes out of these. You'll find these a lot up in the hills of the east because this area really did suffer large clear cuts. This is a young forest, you can tell. A lot of people say, wow, you live in a forest. Wow, and it must be great to live in a forest. Yes, I live in a wooded area, but I would not really call this a quote-unquote forest, and that's because these trees are typical of an area that is less than 500 years old. And I can tell you this tree right here, being probably a good 75 feet to 100 feet tall, is about 30 years old. So basically all the trees that you see in this area are between 10 and 30, 35 years old. I do have a few older trees, like some of the pine trees that are maybe in the 50s, but in general, most of this area has been clear cut, and the large trees that are left are for maintaining borders or property lines. Now my neighbor, you can't really see it. My neighbor back there, you can see right about there. That is a large beech tree. Absolutely beautiful beech tree. He doesn't even know he has it. It's just way back there. Beautiful beech tree. I have some beech trees. Oh, and the magnolias, the way you can identify them is they're very tall and skinny. They have a smooth bark, and they have those large, flat, simple leaves. Very easy to identify. Every once in a while when they get unhealthy, their bark might get a little choppy. Beech wood. How you can tell, well, all the leaves have fallen off because it's about time for it. But you can see these dry leaves. These dry leaves on a beech tree will generally stay on the tree all year until they're about to sprout new leaves, which this tree is starting to do. You can see the seed pods. Beechwood is of a really nice high quality. Very beautiful wood, very hard wood. It warps kind of easily, so it's not a high quality wood in that aspect, but it is used for wedges, tool handles, stuff like that. Here's a nice beech tree too. Being that I am in a lowland swamp area, I do have a lot of holly trees, and these holly trees. Now, a lot of people say, "Well, doesn't holly have those red, berries on it?" Well, the red berries are on the female ones. So the females have the red berries. The males tend to really group together. And that's why we have so many. You can see here's one, there's one. I mean, they're everywhere. They're evergreens. They really provide a lot of privacy and quiet this area down very nicely. Because I do live kind of close to a road. They're really good for deadening the sound of traffic. It really makes this area very quiet and nice. Now, what are these trees good for?
Daddy, I want to turn around, Dad.
You want to turn around? Oh, we're gonna sit over here, all right, by the fire.
Okay.
So we got a little fire pit over here. Now I do have a lot of pine trees. Pine's pine. Everybody's pretty familiar with what pine trees are good for. You can make tea out of the needles and all kinds of cool stuff. You can get fat wood from the old stumps. Makes for some wonderful fire starters. Now these, oh my goodness, now these holly trees right here. I have a few really rather large ones, and they're way in the back over there. What are they good for? Okay, well, the wood is some high quality, really dense wood that can be actually dyed very well. Ebony wood is extremely expensive. Most of the ebony wood that we in America get, like for knife handles, something like that, is actually holly wood.
Daddy?
What kind of tree is this?
Holly.
Yeah, very good. You're getting really good.
Daddy, I want to sit here.
Okay, sit down on your little bench and I'll be there in a second. And the reason holly trees is really popular is because it takes on a dye very easily. So you can dye the wood black, and it is used for piano keys. So it's a cheaper alternative to the African ebony wood that everybody so loves. And you can't tell a difference between the two. You just have to dye it. Ah, look at that. Nice big branch off that tree broke off. It's really hard to clean out some of these because some of these branches that break off are rather large. Sometimes it's an entire tree that snaps in half. Some of these trees are really big. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And there's other small trees. A lot of the smaller trees are in the Magnolia family. You have your standard eastern bamboo, your ferns that are just starting to sprout up, your swamp grass, which is absolutely beautiful once it's in full bloom. Get a lot of flowers on the ground. And what I really like is this green moss, which is really, really cool. It really just coats everything. You can see it's all over that stump over there in the distance. I love that stuff. And I try to fill all the water holes with the dead wood. So that's my way of cleaning up my yard. And it actually does eventually fill the holes up. You can see that some of these are getting kind of full. And as the wood deteriorates, it creates an organic mulch and more woods and trees sprout up healthy. Except for that junk area right there. That's my shooting range. Alright, so I'm going to cut, and I hope you enjoyed. This is part 1, and part 2 will be of me sitting down and going through this backpack I so comfortably am wearing. Take it easy.